Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Talk About the POTS Life, your go-to podcast for all things POTS. Whether you're living with POTS or supporting someone who is, this is the place for you. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About the POTS Life. Today we are pleased to have Sophie Hilliard with us, who's a professional footballer who plays with London City Lionesses. Welcome. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you very much.
Britt and I are partial to this too because we grew up playing soccer. So not only do we get to talk about pots, but soccer. And it's just, I'm just so excited. And I was telling her before we started, part of the reason I'm so excited too is, sometimes when people are first diagnosed or even after a while, they're searching the internet and there's not always positive information or hopeful. And I just feel like her story is that of hope. And look what, yes, she has POTS, but look what she's doing. So why don't we start off with soccer? That's our shared passion here. What drew you to soccer and tell us about your experience going pro?
Well, I started playing at school like most people do with the boys. When I was younger, obviously, not a lot of girls were playing. So I joined an academy at the age of 10 and played for Bristol City, which is where I'm from in the southwest of England. Played for them for 6.5 years for moving to Manchester United for a season. That was part of their under-21s academy squad. Before the following year, I signed my first professional contract when I was 18 at another club in the Championship. I then went on to play for West Ham United in London, and then here I am now at London City Lionesses, which we have just been promoted to the WSL, which is the top flight in women's football in England. So, yeah, we're all very happy about that one.
That's so exciting. Congratulations. When I was, reading your story, and I mean, it had to be shocking when POTS came into play, right? Because this had been, like you said, it's what you've played forever since you were little. And then was it right in 2021, everything kind of started with POTS?
Yeah, I mean, throughout my life as I was growing up, I've always realized something wasn't quite right. Aerobically, I've never been as fit as the other players, but I just kind of got on with it. I always worked hard, so I didn't really understand why. And when I was younger, people were saying, "Oh, does she have asthma or what's the problem?" But it was that year, 2021. Um, I got COVID, never tested positive, but my housemates did at the time. I started to return to my training and I just felt a little bit more breathless. And as I would hit the floor and stand back up, I'd feel a bit lightheaded and felt like I was going to faint. Never fainted in my life before, but kind of had that lightheadedness feeling. And yeah, that's where it all started for me, really.
And it had to be shocking because I think it's, I see all different ages and primarily female. And what I say, even like looking back for me, I always felt like I just didn't have enough in the tank where I was in shape, but like, why didn't I feel as strong as other teammates? And then now I hear that from other patients, whether they're playing basketball or dancers, sports, whatever. And they kind of the same thing, like they are fatigued so much faster. And like you said, you kind of looking back, you're like, oh, wait, this does make sense. But so once all of that started, obviously having good medical team, right? With the team, where did your path then lead from there?
Well, it took a while at the start to kind of realize what was going on. It was kind of, oh, is it long COVID? Is it this, that, or the other? So I had lots of medical tests done in London and heart, lungs, nothing was wrong. Like I had every test done under the sun.
Mhm.
So it was kind of like a bit of a release, but it's like, well, what is going on then? Because something isn't right.
Right.
So at that point, I had a tilt test. And that to this day is one of the worst days of my life.
So, but yes.
Horrific. Like I will never ever put myself through one
Mm-mm.
of them again.
No.
Uh, I generally felt like I was gone. Uh,
Yes.
but obviously that the result of that kind of confirmed that POTS was the problem and the condition that I'd obviously been going through. So from there, I saw a specialist that kind of gave me some guidelines and how to manage it and kind of not get better, as obviously we all know that's not as simple as it sounds.
Right.
So yeah, he gave me some guidelines which I kind of worked through and then almost found my own path through it all.
To see, like, how yeah, what was best. Now, for you, where you live, is it cardiology, neurology? Who kinda handles it for you, or is it a whole team?
It was the cardiologist that I went to see first. Um, and then once I'd done the tilt test, then a pot specialist then kind of looked over my results and then gave me the kind of guideline, the recovery kind of thing.
Yeah, and, like, how it would look. I mean, you're right, that tilt table is no joke. I thought too it was horrible while doing it, and then I'm like, "Okay, I'm done." But it was like the gift that
Yeah.
kept giving days later. I thought, "What
Oh,
did I do?"
I
Mhm.
mean, I was in central London and there's a park right outside the place. I had to sit on a bench for 40 minutes after because I was like, I cannot get on a train, I'm going to pass out.
I
Uh,
cannot even get up. It is because it's like, you know, bringing all those symptoms that you've been
yeah,
experiencing daily just to light all at once. It is yeah,
yeah.
I'm
And I
nope.
don't know whether they sprayed something on your tongue when you had gone, but I had someone spray it. It's called like GTN or something under my tongue and it kind of enhanced all those symptoms and it
Yes.
went from 0 to 100 and I was like, what is going on?
I've heard that. I didn't have it's like they say here, like, you might get nitro. I didn't
Yeah.
have that, but I know some have. So, like,
Yeah.
I had terrible experience without that, so that on top of it I have some patients that were like, "I would not let them come near me with that,"
No.
because they've heard horror stories.
It was horrific. I had no idea what it was at the time, never heard it
Yes.
before. I just let them do it. I was hooked up to all these machines, thought I'd be fine.
Yes.
Clearly wasn't.
No, and then it's like you feel like you said, you have to go sit down, you feel terrible after, and it's just the
Yeah.
gift that keeps giving. So after you saw the pot specialist, and I'm guessing you probably had the same kind of frustration that other people do because we know obviously salt and hydration, but
Yeah.
also I think it might even be more frustrating at your level. Like, I mean, because even for myself, I was like, okay, well, do you have anything else? Like, we're fixers and you
Yeah.
want more, but did you feel frustrated?
100%. I came out of that consultation not happy.
Mhm.
Um, it was kind of like, yeah, I can, like, if you Google POTS, that's what it says. Thank you for that.
Right.
But it was, as you say, you just have to kind of figure out what works for you. And I think what I tell other people at the moment is it's so individual. Um,
Yes.
But yeah, he told me about all these like start with recumbent exercises, which obviously helped, and I wouldn't be where I am now without building it up like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I definitely felt very frustrated at that time.
It had to feel like a punch to the gut because I think what's frustrating too is the POTS comes. I mean, obviously you're well trained. You're in shape. So
Yeah,
it's not like you're weak or frail or something like that. So when they say this happens a lot, I say, okay, now we're going to go recumbent exercises. And they look at me sideways, especially somebody at your level. Like, what do you mean I'm well past that? But I think it's crazy because probably what you were doing and your normal routine, obviously you couldn't. So it is kind of, you know, demoralizing to be like, wait, I have to go this far back in order to go forward. That's quite a switch in your brain.
yeah. And I think at the time I was 18, so I was at a pivotal point in my career. Um,
Mhm.
so for me, it was so frustrating. I'm like, all I want to do is play football, show what I can do. Like, this
Yeah.
is really important for me. And you're telling me there's no kind of time scale. Like, now I'm just led on the floor. Like, it was really hard.
Did they give you any guidance about like you said, there's no time, but did they give you hope that you could get back on the pitch and play?
Yeah, I think the fact that I am a goalkeeper massively helped because aerobically, like being a professional footballer this day and age, like you need a massive capacity to do that. They said that I'd be able to do it, and no doubt about that. But as you said, I just felt like I wasn't getting much on how and how quickly that would happen. But yeah, it was again just finding my own things. The doctor at the club I was at was very proactive in kind of the research. There was one point where he brought a load of wooden planks to my house and we put them under my bed.
Yeah.
Almost like it's like, oh, let's retrain your body
Yeah.
to bring the blood back up whilst you're asleep so it doesn't affect you. And like, I really appreciated that someone was actually trying to help. Whether it worked, I don't know, but it's just something that I can say we tried.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think it's so true. I use that statement all the time, retraining your body, and I think in your example, it's so true because you are the epitome you are strong. So people just think like, well, if you're deconditioned, no, this happens to
Yeah.
plenty of people that are very strong. So it was about retraining your body how to then uptake the blood the right way. That POTS is that why does it happen? Nobody really knows, but the
Mhm.
broken part of POTS is that blood stays there. So every little bit, and you're so right when you say it's individualized, because I'll say to some, obviously we know salt, hydration, exercise are the big ones, but who's to say that elevating the bed doesn't help, or somewhere compression, or everybody, you just got to find like what's right for you. So once you had the diagnosis, you're trying these things, what did you then like what did the next year look like for you? Were you able to stay on the field, or did you have to take a break, or what that look like?
Well, initially, when we were kind of going through the testing period, it was probably about 4 months until we kind of really figured out what was going on. And then I think it maybe took 2 to 3 months until I was on the pitch in some capacity. And when I was on the pitch, I was drinking a lot of salt water in the form of like electrolyte tablets, very strong ones from a company called Precision Hydration, who
Mhm.
now support me as well, which is really helpful. Uh,
Yes, you need it.
yeah, because I get through a hell of a lot of them. Uh,
Yes.
I was wearing skins compression as well, like legs quite high up as well. But saying that now, I've actually realised that how hot I get in them outweighs the benefit of the compression.
Yes, yes, right.
Yeah, so again, like as I tell people, it's so individualized. So in the winter, I will wear them, but now, like in England, it's a heat wave, and I cannot put
Yeah.
them on. I had to take them off in the middle of the session yesterday. I was like, I am so hot. Um, yeah, but I think it took 2 to 3 months after I found out what it was, doing the recumbent exercises, going on the bike a little bit to get on the pitch in some capacity, not full training at all. But that was when I was back kind of kicking and catching. So yeah.
What was that mentally like during that period?
Mhm.
I mean, it was tough. Like being an athlete, you do not want to do part of the session. You want to compete. I felt like I was just there to not make up the numbers, but I was just like an added extra. Um, and obviously part of me was like still struggling with the pots. So I hadn't like figured out what worked for me then. So I was not 100%. I wasn't top of my game, which is again very frustrating, not where I
Yeah.
am. But it was almost hope for the future.
Yeah, that's tough too. Like you said, you were just starting out and, there's a small window to prove yourself and show,
Mhm.
what you can do. And anything that takes you out of that can really mess with you.
Yeah, for sure.
And when you've worked for it your whole life. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's something you want so bad. And POTS is frustrating because from that outside, you look fine, right? So I think it's
Mhm.
also hard, that whole chronic illness side, that people don't understand, like how you internally feel versus how you look on the outside. So yeah,
Yeah,
that has to be so frustrating.
like nobody could see. Like my teammates had not a clue what my heart was doing. Like we have heart rate monitors in training, and my heart was going over 200 beats per minute, and like we just it was so hard to deal with when I'm just doing a simple exercise that shouldn't be intense. And I think what people struggle to realize, even now, like obviously I'm a few years down the line, I know how to manage it. It's still really hard. Like the last few days, it's gone from being 16, 17 degrees here to pretty much 30. And the drastic change has been really hard. But my teammates don't know that that affects me. The coaches, as much as they want to support their athletes, realistically, we're there to do a job.
Yeah.
Like I've got to perform whether it's cold or warm or whether it's changed or whether it hasn't. They don't see that my body is working 10 times harder than the rest of my teammates.
And maybe not like working that much harder, but also not. not maybe perfectly either, like
Yeah.
trying to adapt. The weather changes are not friendly. It's your
No.
body doesn't know if it should be this or should
Mhm.
I be sweating or should I get goose I mean, I think that's the body regulation is huge and you're right. Like it's your job. So you to perform wherever, but just also having to like prepare in all these different ways. Should I wear my compression today? Is it going to be too hot? There's a lot that goes into that
Yeah.
that people wouldn't even realize. And like you said, even teammates, they don't
Yeah,
know.
for sure. Like, it's a lot of preparation, as you say, as well. Like, everything for us is kind of rushed. Like, we go from a meeting to the gym to the pitch, and I'm like, when I go from the gym to the pitch, I have to put my compression on because the gym's really hot. So I
Mm.
can't wear them in there because I'll feel faint. But then outside it's cold. So I need to put them on, but then I don't have time to put them on sometimes.
Gosh,
Then I need to fill my bottle up with the salt water. But
yeah.
it's really, really difficult to kind of manage those and still do my job and be as good as everyone around me. In fact, be better because it's obviously
Mhm.
competitive nature.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's just the next level that I think people don't even realize, and seeing you, like, "Oh, yeah, like, look at her, she's doing great." She is, but look how much has to go in to make that possible.
yeah. And another thing that I think people don't see is that after a day at training, I am knackered. I come
Yeah.
home and I might just sleep because I put my effort into my job, into my training, because that's what I choose to do. And I choose to do it because I love it. But it doesn't change the fact that it is harder for me to do that. And again, people don't necessarily see that.
And all the prep work too that goes into it, right? If you have multiple day practice, if you're traveling, keeping your hydration up, keeping that energy up, it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard work. But what I try to say to everyone else is you just have to find what works for you and prepare as best you can. Like, it's never going to be perfect, but I try and communicate with my coaches and my teammates. And I think the longer you're at a place and the longer that you get to know people, it becomes a lot easier, but it's never going to be easy.
No, and it's like just finding that hope and why you do it because you love it. And like you said, that's what you want to do. And it's so cool that you still can. It might not be perfect and you have to have all these tools in place and the right team. And, like it's very thought out. But when you're out there playing, how do you feel now? Like through it, I'm assuming from a couple years ago, obviously, I'm sure a game would be hard to get through. But now with the right tools, are things better?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've also just had a series of operations on
Yes.
my hip, so I'm like
Mhm.
back playing now, and it feels great. I think not having something and then having it finally after all that hard work, missing out on so much makes you appreciate it so much more.
Mhm.
Whether it be hard or not, it makes you even happier when you can do it. And I just have learned to kind of play with a smile on my face because I'm going to play better that way.
Yeah.
And I'd like never take it for granted anymore. What I do every day for a job, because it's all I've wanted to do throughout my POTS problems and throughout my injuries with my knee.
You
And
had quite a few surgeries to your knee, right?
yeah, so I had a meniscus repair first, then 2.5 months later, I had a clean out, which turned into a microfracture into my femur.
Oh
Uh,
my.
And
Ooh.
then pretty much a year after that, I had a plysectomy and they just took out a piece of tissue around my knee. And then following that, I've had a few cortisone injections just to kind of settle it down.
Jeez, oh
Mm.
man.
Yeah. Not had the
We
best luck,
we
but hopefully we're on the way up now.
we we talk a lot on here about how the pot's recovery is bumpy, but you've had some
Mhm.
potholes in your journey.
I'm sure going back to even through the surgeries, I mean, those are one surgery alone is a lot, kinda sets pots off a little bit, and then you gotta, get back to normal, and then you add all of this, but I also there's probably a blessing on the other side of that, but that it allowed you to become so strong and have solid framework of training and to
Yeah.
step back on the field. I think I was watching a video on Instagram. Was it 505 days since you had
Yeah,
run? Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
it's crazy. Like, I think for me, the hard thing was like when I had the surgeries, obviously I hadn't been active for a period of time. And as you know, with POTS, it's really important to stay active because it's actually like really helpful for the body. And so I'd like have my surgery and my POTS would get 10 times worse. I'd go back to a few years ago where I couldn't get out of bed and do the hoovering or make the bed sheets because it was just intensified. I kind of felt like I was back to a few years ago, and I was so worried that when I came back to training, that I would be back where I was. And for a period of time, I'd say I was. But it didn't take me too long to kind of adapt again. And I think now it's just on the up, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, what a road.
Your story, it's so inspirational, the journey that you just keep going, you persevering, right? It's like no matter what obstacles are thrown, you rise to that challenge and go of it, which is just, it's great. That story to be shared with so many people to hear, like, there is hope, just going forward.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's more like when I struggle in those times, I remember that why I do it.
Yeah.
That little girl that was playing football at school with the boys, and that's kind of my why and why I keep going. And like I'm miles away from home. I moved around the country for football, so that's why I can't give up. It's also my job. It's how I sound silly, and I play football because I love it, but it's also how I make a living.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just keep going and try and get back on the pitch every setback. Hopefully no more, but that's not as easy as it sounds.
I just think your story is, I mean, a word for it to me is like resilient. Like you just keep going and there are tough days. And I think it's fair to say like there were probably lots of tears, right? It's not all perfect. It's bumpy, but it's also, it's okay, right? Like to have tears, good days, bad days, but just one day at a time.
Yeah, there were definitely plenty of tears.
Yes.
But that's where you kind of rely on the people that you have in your support network. And I'd say I was lucky in that sense. Like obviously I'm a long way away from people, but I had friends through football and things like that. But yeah, definitely lots and lots and lots of tears. But yeah, good days, bad days, and now hopefully just good days.
Yeah. I think you deserve some good days.
Me
Yes,
too.
absolutely. We usually ask our guests if they could describe now with POTS, if just one, what would that be?
Oh, one word, that's tough. Um, manageable.
Oh, we've not heard that one.
I like it because it's, it's like
Yeah.
realistic. It's
Yeah.
true. Sometimes people ask us like, "Well, are you going to like cure me?" And I'm like, "You'll never hear me use that word." Like we know it's there, right? But you can get to a point where you live your life that you can still live your life how you want to and it won't
hmm
control every part. So I think that manageable, like that's a perfect word for it.
Yeah, I think as you said a minute ago, good days and bad days. But you just have to remember when you're in that bad day or that bad little period, that it won't last forever. And that's what I struggled with at the start. I was like, is it ever going to get better? But now, when I have a bad day or a bad little period of time, I know that it will be okay. And like throughout my life, there's things that I avoid, but it doesn't stop me from doing things. Like when I go into London, I hate getting on the tube because it is so hot and so crowded, and so many stairs. So I just choose to walk places.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like
just making those adjustments that allow you to just function better.
yeah, and obviously with work and football, it's sometimes hard. You don't have a choice, but when you do have a choice, it's then taking that option that is better for you, or when you don't, it's making that bit more manageable. Manageable, having your electrolytes or
Mhm.
tablets or wearing compression. So yeah,
Your little tricks, the little tricks you
yeah,
have, just sometimes you have to use them more often.
exactly.
Where can our listeners follow you to stay up to date with your journey?
Probably am most active on my Instagram, which is literally just my name, Sophie Hilliard. Um, Lucky to have a unique name like that.
Yeah. It's cool because I think, like, that's where I saw that video of, like, where you started and where you are now, like, the rehab part, and plus, like, all the cool things that your team is doing. I hope for you, you deserve it. Some bright spots ahead, and to be able to play and, you put in so much work and so much work behind the scenes, so if there's anyone that deserves it, man, like, it's somebody like you that can just now you put everything in, it's time that you get to just play and do what you love.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure getting to meet you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
No worries at all. It's nice to be able to speak about it with people that actually understand, because even like in the medical profession, not everybody knows about it, and that's frustrating for a lot of people. I get quite a few messages about it, and like even when I speak to doctors, some of them still don't know what it is. Obviously, it's becoming more common, but it's nice to have a platform that people understand.
Oh, I love that because you're right. The more you can spread hopeful information and positive and just share about it and get the word out there a little more. Actually, my goddaughter's a senior in high school playing soccer and she's in camp right now struggling.
Mhm.
And, you know that feeling. Her mom's like, I feel horrible. She feels like she just doesn't have the umph, but people from outside don't understand it. So I'm hoping, I can't wait to share this with her and send it to her because I just think they'll be able to relate on another level, and that's what it's all about.
Yes, for sure.
Thanks again. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, like all the things.
Yes, we will see you next time. Bye.